Love Yours, an experimental podcast. Welcome back to the final episode of season 2. I'm Charlotte Tahira, and this season we have been exploring Selina Flavius's Black Girl Finance, Let's Talk Money. And it has been a journey. If you've been reading along, then I wonder how you're feeling about your finances as we get to the end of this book. And if you haven't and you've just looked on this episode, I encourage you to go back to episode 1, Introduction, so you can understand what this journey and book club is all about. It's interesting because season 1 of Love Yours was really about self-development and self-love. And this season has been all about learning to love your financial status or your financial situation and make sure that you're doing the best for yourself financially. And what's funny is, as much as I had to self-reflect on me as a person in season 1, reflecting on my finances in season 2 has been really tough. It's really had to make me rethink my mindset and how I approach, manage and deal with my money. Money literally makes the world go round, and it impacts the majority of the life choices we make. And so having to be real with myself about the excuses I make day to day, the lack of assets I own, the lack of savings I have, how I manage my debt, how I budget each month, it's been real. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a nice conversation to have. It's uncomfortable. And I know that links to my money mindset and the way I was brought up, but having to do it so openly with you while reading through this book, I just hope it's really made you have a realistic approach to your financial situation rather than, like I was, living in denial. And I love how Selina Flavius puts little activities within her book so you can explore yourself and your personal growth, and you also have that as a reference to look back on and to see in a year's time where you're at. I think what I've really had to learn along this journey is to accept that my blueprint was flawed, and the only thing I can take as a positive from growing up in poverty and with the money mindset that my parents had was that I'm not a very wasteful person. I am a hustler. I know how to make money for myself. I'm not scared of hard work or challenges when it comes to acquiring money. But I had to really deep that how I budget and how I save and how I invest is flawed. And it's going to take more than just reading this book to correct that. It's going to take time and practice and forming new positive habits around money, even so much as telling my money where I need it to go. And this is totally unrelated, but I went to mini golf the other day and I was losing. It was like 3 rounds in and I was losing. And I decided to use my mouth as a weapon. And just before I hit the golf ball, I said, and this is so silly, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I hit the golf ball and I got a hole in one. And I did it again and I got a hole in one again. So really accepting the power of words and talking about what you want from your money. And I know that's not money related, that example, but I wanted to win that game. I wanted to get a hole in one. And I told myself that I'm going to win a winner, chicken dinner. And I did. I won the whole complete match in the end, even though I started off losing. So just that alone, if I haven't taken anything else really solid from this experience, just to learn how to talk to my money about where I want it to go and what I want it to do for me and its purpose, I think will start to change my habits and my money mindset. I think another reality I've had to face through reading this book is that me, 1, being a woman, and 2, being a black woman, means that unfortunately living and working in the UK, I will probably be underpaid due to my race and gender. And this isn't okay. This is something I have to continually keep addressing and fighting for Each year, each pay review, each promotion, each new job opportunity, I have to make sure I'm appreciating and knowing my worth. And that comes into doing research with the current market, with people in similar positions. What is the bands for pay? Because once I have that knowledge, that is power that I can use to negotiate. And I definitely don't have problems negotiating. I love a good debate, but it's having the confidence to negotiate when it comes to a subject that I was brought up to be known as so taboo, such as money. So if you've just been listening along to the podcast, or if you've been listening to the podcast while joining the book club and reading Black Girl Finance, please don't feel too overwhelmed. It is a lot of information to take in. I feel like it's the type of book I definitely will have to read again, just to reinforce some of the new habits I'm going to try and take up. And maybe it's also a tool that I can refer to when I go to buy more assets, invest more, save more, build my emergency fund. There's no reason why I can't refer back. I think the key here is just changing your attitude towards your finances, and everything else will fall into place as and when it can or it should. And with that, I'm going to leave you with my final quote of the season. And it comes from someone who I wouldn't have necessarily looked to for advice on my finances, but this quote speaks volumes about what we've covered in this book. He goes by the name of Tyrese Gibson, actor, R&B legend, and he says, "You are the master of your own environment. You've got your own head, your own mind. So once you figure out what you want for yourself, you have to create the proper environment to make sure you can live out all the things you want." And honestly, I think it's so important because it's so easy to blame our parents or our upbringing for our current financial situation. But this is your environment now. You can change those patterns. You can change your mindset. And you can figure out what you see your future looking like and put the steps in place to work towards it. Thank you so much for joining me on this financial roller coaster of a journey. Love Yours will be back with a new book for season 3. But until then, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and follow. I've been your host, Charlotte Tahira, and thank you for joining me on season 2 of Love Yours, an experimental podcast exploring Selina Flavius's Black Girl Finance. Let's talk money. Love Yours, an experimental podcast